Welcome to our AI Assist webinar. And today we're going to be going through this new feature within our product and looking at how it can put time back into your hands. So we're very excited to share this morning. I'm Donata, I'm Head of Brand and Ecosystem Development at D6. And today we're going to be covering the following. So we're going to be looking at where we are, the moment that we're in the industry and in the world, really. And we're going to be looking at why AI in schools has moved from being a fearful and worrying thing to an opportunity and how quickly that's moved. We're also going to be looking at, as I mentioned, what AI Assist actually is and how it's going to keep your school's data safe. We'll then work through some prompts that work role by role. So everybody has a different role in the school, and it's important to know how to prompt, because your prompt really leads you to asking the right questions and getting the results that you need. Additionally, we'll be looking at, we'll be seeing it in action. Today we have Jared, who actually created this feature in our product, and he will be taking us through example questions and answers, and the impact that we've had so far and how your school can join. Okay, so let's go to the moment that we're in. In 2024, there was a lot of fear, there was silence, people were worried. I remember asking at an expo where I was presenting and talking to the schools and saying, who's afraid of AI? And all the hands went up. On the other hand, this year, when we asked that question, people were looking at me like I was crazy, because they actually just thought, how can you be scared of it? We've actually started using it in our schools. We're seeing the impacts, we're seeing the positive side of things, and that worry that they had, that fear that they had, has moved to the following, that AI is here to stay in your staff room and in your classroom. Even though there's no government guidelines at the moment yet, it's still something that is being explored. And I think that's really wonderful if you are exploring it, because curiosity is what's going to help us to really ensure that we thrive and we find creative ways to get what we need in less time. Currently, teachers reach for any AI tools, and that's why we also identified a big need inside of schools. And this need is to provide them with AI tools that are safe and that are made for your school, because not everything is a fit for what you need in your school today. And lastly, there's no playbook at the moment for schools to lean on, but that's where we come in as the experts within the industry to make sure that we provide you with something and a playbook that you can lean on. So the question is no longer whether your staff will use it, it's whether they use it in a way that is safe and grounded in your school's data. So what if you could get some time back? Schools require constant management, as you may know, but daily noise does get in the way. And every hour spent digging through spreadsheets and finding information is an hour that you are not spending on more important things. Like in a teacher's case, it would be teaching and growing and developing our learners. So let's go into the basics. What is AI Assist in D6? So AI Assist is inside of our D6 school management system, and it helps to answer questions from your school's own data. You can ask it in plain English or Afrikaans, and it turns the questions into tables, graphs, comments, and reports, or rather the answers into tables, graphs, comments, and reports. So this is not the ABCs, it's the ACF. Admin, for example, it's inside of that. And what AI Assist can do in there, if you're using our admin module, is it can give you insights into learners, attendance, discipline, family structures, and contact details. In the curriculum space, if you're using our curriculum module, we're looking at marks, subjects, assessments, pass rates, and progress over time for the learners. And in finance, if you're using our finance module, you can look at fees, balances, budgets, collections, and exemptions. So you type a question, AI Assist reads all the data that you have inside of your school environment that you've inputted into D6, and it answers you in seconds. So there's no more click, 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 click to find something. You can just ask the question and the information comes to you. So one thing to really hone in on and focus on is privacy and ensuring that you're looking at putting the safety of your learners' data first, your learners, your parents, your staff data first. So resistance to AI often stems from a valid fear of data leaks, but learners, staff, and parent data must be treated with sanctity. We do not want our educators and our school management teams to be paralyzed by the fear, but it is something that we need to keep in mind when you're using any AI tool. You need to ensure that that AI program is compliant with legislation like POPIA, for example, which is very valid and enforced in South Africa. Internationally, we're looking at GDPR, for example. But rest assured, if you're using any of D6's AI products, that is standard and incorporated, and all our products are created with that in mind first. So security is not an afterthought. It is a prerequisite for innovation. What that means is anything that we innovate on has to always first comply. So your school's data stays your school's data. In some AI models, data can be shared. If you've ever read through the terms and conditions, it's quite scary and it's a lot to go through. But in general AI models, that data is not kept safe. It is used to teach the model to learn more about your environment and about your school, for example. But it is not guardrailed, it's not kept safe. With AI Assist in D6, we're looking at your data only. So AI Assist answers from your school's records, and it does not browse the internet or mix schools together. If you've ever gotten a weird answer from AI that you know is incorrect, that's why, because it's searching in other places. Whereas with D6, it can only search what is available to it within the D6 environment. Your permissions apply, so users only get answers from data that their D6 role already allows them to see. So if a teacher maybe logs in, she's maybe not going to be able to see all the finance data because that is not something that she needs to be privy to. Whereas the bursars might see more information because they're allowed to see it, and the roles have been allocated in such a way inside of the D6 school management system. We ask for consent before use, so schools opt in, and every user that uses it needs to accept terms and conditions before their first question. And as I mentioned, POPIA and GDPR, it's built for schools, and personal information is processed for school purposes only, not to teach another outside model that is hosted in the US anything. So what our schools have already done with it, we're about 6 months in. We started with consulting with schools first, then we went into a pilot phase with some of our schools, then we went into a larger pilot, and 6 months in, what we've seen is we have more than 4,000 questions answered. There's more than 500 active school users. We have 2 languages in our one assistant that we've built, and we've seen questions from every role. So from the principal to the office, we've gotten a lot of good questions, and it's really been wonderful to see how people have used it creatively. So what surprised us with this feedback that we've seen so far is the school office is our biggest user, and school management asks 1 in 5 of the questions that are being asked in AI Assist. This tool is for the whole school and not just for teachers. So you might have used AI in the past for lesson plans, for example. That is something that AI can assist with. But there's so much more that it can do when it is linked to a database as rich as your D6 school management systems data. Now, the skill of asking is a skill. That's why we called it the skill of asking. And a great prompt has 4 ingredients. So we start with the who or the what. So we're looking at the grade, class, subject, or learner group. For example, grade 11 learners. Which data you want it to look for. So whether it's marks, attendance, discipline, or fees. Time frame, the term or the year, or a comparison, for example. So maybe last year's term 1 compared to this year's term 1. We want to look at the format, so to ask for a specific format. So either a table, a graph, a list, comment, or report. So a vague prompt would be something like, how are the marks looking? There you're just asking, in general, how are the marks looking? There's no specific prompt or piece of prompt to guide the AI into looking for something specific. And the answer is also going to be vague in that case. A more specific prompt would be, compare grade 12 mathematics June marks over the last 5 years in a table. And this leads to better answers that you can then use for the insights that you need. So now I'm going to hand over to Jared for the moment we've all been waiting for, that he can show you what AI can do for you.
Thanks, Donata. Hey, everyone. So I'm going to start by how do you get there within D6 School Management Platform. And let me get my screen share up for everyone, just so that you can see. Okay, right, so how do we get there? Very simple, very few clicks, My School, D6 AI Assist. Now, if you haven't accessed it in the past, you will be asked to first accept an addendum, and when you get into AI Assist, you will also be asked to accept terms and conditions. Once you've done that, you will be prompted for your password to authorize that you can in fact access the school and you access the school's data. The other thing is that we have to keep it quite locked down because obviously it's your private data and that's why you need to use that password. But what's also very important is that you use your email address that is associated with your staff member or your user account in D6 SMP. Don't attempt to access with a different email because then we cannot link your user record from AI Assist to your staff member at your school. Now, once you're in the system, I've got a cheat sheet off to the side. So luckily I'm just going to copy and paste prompts. But what you would generally do is following the guidelines that Donata went through earlier, you can go in and begin asking your questions. There are, as you'll see, some already pre-populated questions that you can interact with. And if you click on this icon at the top right, we have attempted to pull in as many of the existing tasks from normal tasks as well as compliance tasks within D6 SMP. So let's start with the first question that I've got, and this is coming from the principal persona. It will take a few seconds. There's some checks that it needs to do. So we'll first make sure that you as a user have got the relevant permissions in order to ask a question related to this data. It will then go and ensure that it can connect to the school. It will go and retrieve anything that's relevant to query this data, and then obviously run the query and perform any analysis if needed. and it should generally take a few seconds, and thankfully there it did this time. So you'll see the first question, our grade 12 term 2 results show 50 bachelor passes. Which subjects would we work on to reach 100% bachelor passes by year end? And it has gone and found that our top 4 priority subjects are accounting, engineering, graphics and design, hospitality studies, and computer applications technology. We also receive a secondary focus, 8 subjects that are of some concern, but perhaps not directly impacting. Then we get key insights and we get our table to show what exactly, how many learners, how many have passed, what the pass rate is, what the average is. It's important to know that this is not a question and answer tool, this is a conversational tool. So if this was not entirely how you wanted this data to be formatted, you can always continue the conversation and say, okay, but can you please show me learners from information technology? Then the second persona I'm going to step into is your deputy principal. And for this one, I am again revisiting my cheat sheet, and I'm going to open up a new conversation because I do not want the context of my previous message to influence the response to this one. That is only necessary if you are switching contexts, if you are asking a question about attendance and you want to follow up on any statistics within or related to attendance, you can continue in the same conversation. So, second question I'm asking, this is now from a more of a deputy principal's perspective. Summarize grade 12 learners who do not meet the pass requirements. Home language 40%, 2 or more subjects of 40%, and 3 of 30%. And again, this should only take a few seconds. And while that is running, I am going back to my cheat sheet to grab the next one. There we go. Okay, so again, we've got our summary, we've got our breakdowns, and in this particular case, it has found and isolated 2 particular learners who are not meeting the requirements, and it shows us exactly where they are missing the mark. So this particular learner is below the passing threshold for a home language, and this particular learner only has 2 subjects above 30%. And then again, we get our table of results, which we can go and view what data did this work through and find exactly the marks that it is concerned about. Something that I also have not mentioned yet is you can go and export this data into a CSV if you would like to maybe use it. Maybe you've got some macros in Excel that you'd like to go run across it, or maybe you just want to have this data on hand at any particular time. The next that I'm going to step into is HODs, and this is more quality control related. So the prompt that I'm giving this time is to utilize 2026 demerit data, summarize our top offenders, common violation patterns, and grade distribution. And we're looking for learners with 100 plus demerit points. And that should also take not too long. It's in this particular case for this, we don't, as in other tools which would generally hit certain endpoints within a system to retrieve data, we instead directly hit the database and we query across our tables in order to be able to best respond to a question. So sometimes it can take a little bit longer. It just means that whatever it initially attempted to get that data for you failed, and it will retry it in the background. Right, our response. So we've got our demerit summary. It has gone and highlighted our 5 extreme offenders, our common violation patterns, our distribution, and our overall statistics. And then once again, we get our tables, but we get more than just one this time. These are all the various data sets that it would have had to go and work through in order to return a result. And again, you can export all of these data sets. Also, something very nice is that it has gone and produced a chart to show us number of incidents and demerits. So, next persona that I'm stepping into is educators. So we're now looking to identify grade 9 learners who improved their term 2 marks by 5% from their grade 8 final marks. And we should, any second now, get our response. It is quite important to note, and you will see that we've obviously made mention of it at the bottom of the screen. Our data can sometimes be wrong, or rather the responses can sometimes be wrong. You are working with AI at the end of the day. It does have a tendency to hallucinate responses at times, and that is why we've introduced the feedback buttons. So I'll show you once we've scrolled through this, thumbs up, thumbs down, and if you thumbs down, you can also provide a reason as to why you think it is wrong. We do work through this. We are constantly improving the system. So we will see it and we will be able to fix it up for the next time you ask this question. Okay, so we've got our response and we've got some grade 9 learners here. So here's our list, our top performers, and it's even gone and analyzed some patterns for us in the process. And then we, again, our tables and our marks, and we can always go and export those. Now we've got our feedback buttons here at the bottom. If you hit thumbs down, we'll ask you what went wrong. You can provide an additional comment. We typically review these every week. If you're happy with it, just thumbs up, and that just tells us that whatever we did is working and that you're happy with the product. Next persona I want to step into is our admin and office staff. And I'm going to change tone a little bit, and instead of looking at marks and attendance and discipline and so on, I am going to go for a finance type related question. So I am now asking report on outstanding school fees, balance per year, per family, parent details, parent arrangements, payment arrangements, and last payment date. And this one should give it a little bit more of a challenge. Let's see how it handles. And as expected, it is giving it a little more of a challenge, but I'm confident we will still get a response. A second. Do we have questions? Okay.
Can we ask for stats on finance?
Right. Let's see so long. Right, so we've got some questions here so long while we wait. Morning, can we ask stats on finance? You can, absolutely. Because we've got direct access to your data, you can pretty much ask anything within D6 school management platform itself. There's also a couple of things that you can't quite ask at the moment. Let's just quickly see if we've had a response yet. We have not. There's a couple of things you can't ask at the moment is direct compliance related questions. We are busy working on that. We did loosely open it up not too long ago, but we found due to the nature of the data we had, it was a little difficult to properly process. Then the second question that we've got lined up is, can I see trends for absenteeism in one specific class? You absolutely can. And that is probably one of the most tested requests that we've had throughout the lifetime of this product. Right, we finally got our result. As expected, it was quite a challenging one for this tool, but it still managed to handle it. And we've got outstanding school fees report, summary, total outstanding balance, number of families with outstanding fees, and average outstanding balance per family, and of course the year. And so here's the family names, family codes, what is outstanding, and who's the accountable parent. We've got some more analysis as we scroll through this, some recommended actions, and some additional notes. We've also got the raw data that we can go through and extract if we want to use this for anything. And a few charts have been produced. Now, unfortunately, I have see the chart display has gone a little bit weird, and that is, of course, just because we're doing a demo today. Right. So, one final question that I am going to ask, and this one is going to be in Afrikaans, just to show that we can also handle multiple languages. This is again a finance-related question. It may also pose a little bit of a challenge, but let's see.
Jared, I also want to just mention to everybody in the forum that we are improving this every day, and we really rely on the feedback that we get from you all to make sure that we provide the right things that you would like to see. So even where we might not be able to answer certain things at this stage, it is definitely in the roadmap, because this needs to be valuable for the school at the end of the day. And Hester, to your point, those stats will just continue to grow and improve as we get more feedback from everybody and we see the usage. So I really want to encourage everybody, you should be able to try it for a few prompts. If you haven't tried it yet, go click on it, go ask your questions. If it's not what you wanted, tell us, because we really want to work with our schools in this time to ensure that we're giving you the right things. We don't want to go and think up beautiful graphs that you'll never use, or results that you'll never use, or prompts that you'll never use. We really want to go on what you've given us. So if that's any consolation, it's a good encouragement to go and explore, and let us know if you're happy or not happy. Jared looks at this, he's very, very involved, and he's working tirelessly to make sure that this is valuable to you.
Cool, thank you, Donato. So we have received our response. It has also gone and responded to us in Afrikaans, because we asked it our question in Afrikaans. And once again, our table full of data. Now, one of the questions that we had was specifically to attendance data. And yes, absolutely, that is one of our existing pre-populated prompts. This is a very simple one for it. As I say, we have hammered this probably the most, and this is one of the most tested prompts that is in the system. So when it comes to attendance questions, you can generally take the response with fairly high confidence. And here is your result. So our table and our chart showing our attendance trends throughout not any random period, specifically this term, term 3. You'll notice that we've done a little bit of background work so that when you refer to this term, we understand, or the model understands, that this term is actually term 3, and it goes and filters specifically for term 3 up until today. I have seen a couple more questions come through. So can I print out our export this info? You can export this info. You can export from the tables over here and over here, so CSV and PDF. This information at the moment, we are working on the export functionality, so you would be able to export this into a PDF document, and you can then take it from there. And another question, hi, we've not yet activated our AI. Is there any additional cost for this? I believe that is maybe a question that is better answered by Donata.
No problem at all. So we've actually looked at our packages that we offer, and we have packages available to schools that include AI Assist, as well as Report Card Designer and a whole lot of features that we'll be releasing throughout the year. If you are interested in looking at one of those packages so that you can be the first person to get all the things in AI Assist, as well as some other nice features that we'll be releasing throughout the year, please contact your account executive, and they'll take you through exactly what is inside of that. There is an option for you to also take it standalone. And in the event that you'd like to take it standalone, there is an additional price that you pay. My personal favorite is the package because it gives you more for a lot less. So please reach out to your account executive, and we will ensure that we get back to you with an exact quote with everything in, and that you can see. And we're also working on adding top-ups if you would like to top up your package when you have maybe finished some of your prompts. But yeah, we've tried to keep it as fair as possible and to ensure that you can ask the questions that you need to with the package that you take.
Cool. Thanks again, Donata. Right, and then another question here. Are questions submitted by different users visible to the super user? No. So we've taken quite a strong privacy stance where no one can really access what another person is asking. It could be something to consider. To open that up, we would need that to be submitted as a feature request, however, and then we'll take a look at it and answer from there. With D6 tools, D6 Finance, fees, AI Assist, why so many different things, and are there any overlaps? Again, I think maybe Donata would like to answer this one. I think my response would be very direct.
It's okay. We love you for it, Jared. We know that you're a developer, and that's why you're so good at your job. But let's quickly have a look here. I just want to understand or look at the question again. With D6 tools, D6 Finance, fees, AI Assist, why so many different things, and are there any overlaps? So AI Assist is with your admin module, but it stretches over all three modules. So we're not going to, for example, say you have to get AI Assist for each different module, because that is one complete package. And that is, like I said, you can have it included in your package. It doesn't have to be an add-on like the finance tools, for example. That's not what we want to make you do, purchase every little tiny thing over and over. So that's really why we've worked on the packages. We have a momentum package that is available, and that will then include AI Assist for you. And as I mentioned, some other cool features like our report card designer, where you can really customize and make it your own. And then in fees is a separate platform that integrates with D6. For fees, we also have packages that include AI Assist inside of it, plus other features, once again, so that you don't have to buy everything separately. And as I mentioned, it's a separate program that integrates with us, and that is typically used for different types of insights. You can decide whether you want to have AI Assist in fees or just in finance, for example. So it really depends on your users, who uses it, and who needs to have access. Because in some schools, for example, the fees user is not necessarily also the finance user. And they ask different questions that are more specialized to debt management versus questions that are more about finances overall. But we wanted to make sure that all the different platforms that we have this capability inside of it pertaining to the data that is captured there, so that you can ask specialized questions. Hope that answers your question, Teresa. Attendee 2 has also asked a question, Jared. I think that one's for you because it's got to do with...
That's correct. Yes. Okay. So how many prompts are available in total, and is this limit shared across all users, or does each user with access have their own individual prompt allowance? So we don't necessarily measure in quantity of prompts. It's more around the quality of the response you're looking for. I would say that you would get a lot more use out of it than what is generally expected on the momentum tier. If I had to put down a rough number, let's say about 70 medium to advanced prompts. But yeah, that's a very rough number because we don't necessarily measure in terms of prompts. We rather watch the percentage of usage and limit on that. And then to the second part of the question, no, it's not a per user. It is a across the whole school usage limit. However, there is a per user daily limit so that one person cannot go and utilize all the available usage in a single day. And then I've seen some questions come up in chat as well. I just want to go and have a look at some of those. So one of them is, can AI do a setup of budget for 2027? So it can't necessarily action anything on the platform itself, but what it can do is maybe have a look at your data from this year and a previous year and give you a suggestion on how to go and set it up yourself. But yeah, it won't unfortunately be able to go and do it on your behalf within the system.
But Jared, we're working on some things, right?
That is true, and we are now giving some spoilers away to those sitting here. So we are now working on and should hopefully soon be releasing certain capabilities to, say, provide a sheet and capture attendance, or let's not dig too far into and give too many spoilers away, so I'll stop with the attendance. But yes, we are working on the capability for you to be able to ask the AI assist to action on your behalf within the system.
Yeah, and that is called, if we refer to agentic, that is what that means. So that means that it can do things on behalf of you. And because we're working with the schools, as I mentioned, and looking at how we can make things better, within AI Assist, we will be looking at these sort of things in future because that is where we're moving towards. Our goal is to ensure that you are also up to date with the things that are happening in the AI world. We bring the technology to you so that you don't have to go search for anything outside of D6 that could potentially be harmful to your school in terms of POPIA and GDPR and all of that. So I know that even our finance team is looking at what we can do, and this will just evolve and evolve and evolve because currently everything is moving so fast because of AI. So you will be able to see more in future, but for now it's more the questions and answers and insights. On the Momentum package, for example, that I mentioned, where we created a package that already includes AI, when agentic, when it can do things for you, is available, that will already be a feature that you have. And that is why I think that that package is probably the best option for a school that wants to start to evolve with AI today. We have some more questions. Marinda, there are some costs, as I mentioned. It's either changing your package to our Momentum package, and that will be included, and everything, like I mentioned, report card designer, other things that we are launching will be part of it, or it is 899 per month, and you get 899 rands worth of prompts when you use it. And that's quite a lot that you can do with it then. Just want to see, there's another question. Can AI kan ons AI Assist nou al by die finansies ook gebruik? Yes, you can use AI Assist in the finance module already, and you can look at different things in there. So Jared, they're asking about monthly reporting with your financial statements for the SGB, for example.
Okay, yeah. So you can, to an extent, if the data is in the system, you can go and query it. So I suppose the best way to really find out is for me to ask you to go and attempt it. And if you're not happy with the results, downvote it, give me the reason, and I can go and sit and actually look into it in more depth. My initial answer is yes, you can use it for that as long as the data is in the system, but try it and let's see where we can refine the response.
Just to the question about the 7-day free trial, for example, we have free prompts that you can use, or you can go into AI Assist and go try it out. You'll see it will limit you. So that is our free version that you can use. So please, if you want to try it, go into AI Assist in your school management portal and just click on it and ask the questions that you have, or you'll first need to accept terms and conditions, and then you can go into the questioning. And then you can, as Jared mentioned, upvote it, downvote it, give us your feedback, and we'll see what we can do to improve it. Arina also asked another question. Is there a possibility that could minimize consuming work, like capturing invoices? For example, some accounting packages utilize a photo of a slip and pre-populate it on the software for you to check and accept.
So without saying too much, there is a possibility that we can support that. And there are steps that we need to take before we can get there, which is, as we teased earlier, the capturing of attendance by utilizing AI Assist. Once that is right and released to the market, we'll monitor it, and when we're happy with the stability there, we'll then move into evaluating things like exactly that, scanning a slip and capturing that against your financial records.
Yeah, I think one thing that's very special for me about D6 is that we don't, if it's core to our to school management, we don't look at other software that we just plug in that you're going to have to pay a lot more for. We're creating this all from scratch. We're not utilizing other platforms and just white labeling it, putting a D6 name on it and saying, here we go. It's actually being completely built from the ground up. So I think that's also good for peace of mind to know that we are building it with you, and we're also looking at how we can optimize. And that's why these things also take a little bit of time. But in saying that, it's a lot faster than it ever was in the past. I've got so many things that are coming up as the person that looks at our brand, that we need to start communicating to you, because there's so many wonderful things that all of our different products are working on. So definitely keep an eye out for any communication on the D6 forum. If you're not part of the D6 forum yet, please join it. We'll add a link, Nelia, in the background there. If you could please, we'll share it somehow, either here or in an email afterwards, so that you can stay up to date with the latest that is happening. We also have ways that we sometimes put some messages inside of our school management platform. So if you see something, have a look at it, give it a read, and stay up to date with what is coming out from D6. I just wanted to check any more questions. Esther, on the question about the free trial, it's not limited. Or it is limited, but I mean, it's not a specific time only. So if you go in today or next week and you decide you want to test it, it will then consume tokens or start to give you results, and you'll see the little percentage bar at the top go down. And it might go down faster because it's not a paid version. but it will also tell you when the tokens are done. If you want to sign up, then you can click a certain button and get somebody to contact you. Okay. Let's quickly have a look. You're welcome. Are there any other questions or anything anybody else would like to see, perhaps? Okay. Yeah, I think that is then all the questions. If you have any other questions that come up a little bit later, perhaps in the day, and you're thinking about, you know, I didn't get a chance to ask this, please reach out and don't be shy. There's no judgment. We're all very, well, not the developers, but me as just Donata, for example, that works at the brand department. It's new to us all. We all have to learn how to navigate this. And that is why we have our incredible AEs and customer support teams that can assist you with this. So just reach out to your account executive if you'd like to know more, or to any of our teams, really. We'll find you somewhere in wherever you want to contact us, and then we'll have a chat. Jean-André asked, my connection was spotty. When you buy the product, is there a limit to the amount of questions you can ask? So yes, it's not unlimited, because there is a cost for us also. We have to host things and also, you know, monitor usage across different schools and all of that. But you will be able to get a lot of questions, and we've made it so that it's not like 2 questions and then, oh, sorry, it's finished. We don't want to be unfair with this, and we want people to be able to use it effectively. So it's the same as a package with, I don't know if you've used ChatGPT or Claude. You pay a certain amount, you get a certain amount of prompts. I don't think anybody really knows how many prompts they get, because prompts can be like a 5-word sentence or a 100-word essay. And depending on what the complexity of it, they take the tokens and they use the tokens to be able to give you the best result possible. So you'll be able to monitor your usage in terms of percentage at the top, but you get 899 Rands worth of tokens to utilize how you see fit. So I hope that answers your question. Perfect, thanks. See, one more question has come through. Hester says, give us another finance graph. I've actually met Hester in person, so I think for you, Hester, anything.
Let's see what I can get for you. There's a couple of finance questions on my cheat sheet. So here we go. Analyze fee collection since January 2025. Heat map against expected revenue. Link the dips to the school calendar and suggest 2 non-punitive fixes. That feels like a decent one for a final showcase. Let me get my screen share back up and running for you. And into a new chat. And I think just something worth reiterating is you are, in terms of the data you can access, you are restricted by what your role is at the school and what your permissions allow you to see. So an educator who does not have access to finance will not be able to ask a finance-related question. They will be hard blocked. So just do keep that in mind when you are prompting. But we do want to encourage you to be creative and use this for these use cases that you haven't maybe seen today, because and especially rate your responses on those, because those are the types of use cases that we really want to see. They show that there's more value to the system than what we initially predicted, and if the responses are wrong, we can always go and rework it a little bit or optimize for it to get you a better response. Okay, and let's see. That was a hell of a lot faster than I expected it to be.
It's getting smarter.
It is evolving as we use it. On that, I would also like to just reiterate, we do not retain any of your information to enhance the model itself. Instead, the data that is stored in the database is more along the lines of how did it query to give you that response rather than the result of the response. And that's the data that we store privately within D6, and we use that to enrich this tool further. So here's our nice in-depth response, our heat map of actual versus expected. And I did see that it generated a chart. I just want to scroll through this slightly. Okay, right, so our tables. So that's all the data it has gone and worked with, and our chart. And there we go. So it is broken down 26 and 25 and showing that January of this year is a little bit better than last. February is more or less the same, and then March is quite significantly different. And we have got August, which obviously is not complete yet, so it will reflect as worse off than last year. That is actually another really important thing to mention, is because we're working directly with your data, this is in real time. So this is figures as of this morning when I copied and randomized this data into my play environment. There we go. And I think back to Donata.
Thank you so much for joining, everybody. We really appreciate everybody's attendance. Nilia will send out more details to answer the questions about the cost and how you can get this. Please remember that there is an option for you to try it out for free already within your school management platform. Just go navigate from, I think it's My School AI Assist, click on it, try it out, and if you are interested in getting this for your school, your accounts executive will be available to answer any questions that you have and to guide you to what would be the best for you. Right. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. We look forward to collaborating with you on this journey and to getting all your responses. Jared's going to be checking if all the names in this chat have been asking questions. So make sure that you do as soon as possible. Have a lovely day.
We should set up a question leaderboard.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. You can do that quickly, I'm sure. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.